Welcome to the March 20th episode of COVID-19 with Dr. Russell Osgathorpe. I'm Kirk Jowers. Dr. Osgathorpe is the Chief Medical Officer of doTERRA, as well as a board-certified pediatric infectious diseases specialist. Russ, thank you so much for being here.
Good to be here.
You have been up at Primary Children's Hospital all week, and I really appreciate you taking this time to give this update to our followers.
No problem.
Here is your COVID-19 update for March 20th. California and New York have ordered its residents to stay home. Yesterday's Italy's death toll from the coronavirus reached 3,405, surpassing China's, and it continues to climb. According to the CDC, nearly 40% of patients who have been hospitalized in the U.S. fall between the ages of 20 and 54, and nearly half admitted to the ICU were under the age of 65. That goes to the episode we did yesterday.
What we talked about yesterday, yeah.
That young people are a little more susceptible to this disease than perhaps we initially thought. Let's look at the graphic as we do each day from the World Health Organization. Again, this exponential growth of people who are suffering from this disease.
Yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
To all of you watching, we really appreciate your attention to these episodes and sharing them with your friends. We hope they are helpful, and so today we wanted to be extra helpful going into the weekend and have gathered the most frequently asked questions. The question that we hit dozens of times was that they have read reports that people have tested positive for COVID-19 twice. So the question obviously is, can people become infected with COVID-19 more than once?
Kirk, this is a really hot topic.
Yeah.
I understand why it's being asked so much. But it's a complex answer, so you're going to have to bear with me. But the real answer to the question, which is simple, is that we don't know if you can become infected twice and get sick twice from COVID-19. What I will say, though, in trying to help step through why these reports have come out, is that there are a couple reasons why you might test positive more than once. The first is that viruses shed for some time after even your disease symptoms have resolved.
And describe shed. What does that mean?
So viral shedding is where the virus actually can be detected in fluids like saliva or secretions from your nose long after your symptoms have resolved, up to days and sometimes even a week. And depending on your age, viral shedding can go on for many days after your symptoms have resolved, depending on the type of virus you have. So it's possible for someone to test positive for COVID, say in late February, get over COVID, and potentially get tested again and be positive a week or 2 weeks later.
Okay.
We don't know right now how long in every age group shedding occurs with COVID-19. That information we're going to find out over time. But one of the reasons that you could test positive twice is that it's really just the first episode of illness. It's just that it's shedding, not disease, the second time you test positive. The second way is that there could be false positive tests. Every lab across the world is testing at capacity. And with PCR testing, which is incredibly sensitive, it's possible that some people could be tested a second time and that test could come back as falsely positive because there was a mistake in the lab with very tiny, minuscule amounts of contamination. Other reasons why you could test positive are that a second time is that you're a special host, meaning that you have an immune deficiency and your immune system doesn't function normally. And so you could potentially not generate immunity to the virus the same way other people do, and then you would potentially be able to contract the virus again. And then lastly, it is potentially possible that an asymptomatic infection with COVID-19 does not generate long-lasting immunity, for example. And you might then get infected a second time. Although we don't know yet, there are reports of multiple cases, meaning an individual getting multiple respiratory illnesses that are thought to be secondary to COVID-19 both times. But we don't know enough yet to say that definitively.
Okay.
And I imagine that it's going to take us some time before we can answer that question with good science.
How long do symptoms of coronavirus last for the typical person? I know it varies, but is there some answer for that?
You're asking really easy questions. So COVID-19 for many people is asymptomatic, right?
Right.
So for many people, they don't even know they have it and they have it.
Right.
So to answer your question, right, there's some that don't have any symptoms at all.
Right.
And then
And they never will.
And they never will, right?
Huh. Yeah.
And then we assume that if you do have disease, that if it's moderate or mild disease, that your symptoms generally are lasting about a week. And if you have severe disease, it can go much longer, even as far as 2 weeks, where we have people in ICU settings for much longer. So it tends to be a typical influenza-like illness lasting 7 to 10 days, unless it's severe, and then it can go longer.
So the next question is, who is at the highest risk for severe cases of COVID-19?
Right.
And what pre-existing health concerns come into play?
Okay, so data coming out of the areas of the world that have been fighting this infection the longest, so that's China, Korea, Italy, show that it's age-related. So the older you are, the more severe your disease can be. And then it's chronic respiratory conditions like asthma, COPD, emphysema.
Right.
And then there's cardiac conditions, chronic cardiac conditions, and then maybe this, diabetes, and then maybe this last one of immunity states, but we're not sure on that last one.
Great. The final question that a few of you asked, I think trying to make sure that we walk the walk as well as talk the talk, since we're both executives at doTERRA, is, are doTERRA employees still working at the office, or is doTERRA practicing social distancing?
Oh, you bet we are. We've gone to great efforts to decrease our campus footprint. Most of our employees in the call center, for example, have been working from home. Last weekend, hundreds of them were set up with computers at home in an Herculean effort to get everybody working from home as quickly as possible. We were very progressive in how quickly we moved, even before governments in the state of Utah were asking us to do so.
That's exactly right. And a lot of credit to Corey Lindley, who's been the chair of our task force, has done an incredible job. And as you mentioned, IT doesn't always get praise because here they have been
amazing,
unbelievable.
really amazing.
Yeah, to send off our thousands of customer service employees, account managers, everyone else, to have them work from home.
Our parking lots are empty for the most part.
In fact, I took a couple of pictures of some of our social distancing. You can see, this employee store where we have these, 8-foot differences to make sure we're well beyond the 6 foot to go in. And then I took of the parking lot. The first one makes us look like we're really doing well because there's like 3 cars out of what it should have been 300. The other one, you will see a cluster of cars, and that's around, of course, our manufacturing and shipping. We have redone that to make sure that they are practicing proper social distancing, but we're grateful that they are still showing up and getting our products manufactured and shipped out.
I will say, to close that last question out, that it's not just the businesses that need to be doing this, though. Like we said yesterday, families and individuals need to be doing the same sorts of big-time efforts to change the way they live.
That's right. So be safe this weekend. Thank you for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on Monday.